Hello and welcome to our today's tutorial. We are moving forward discussing the emergency procedures for vulnerable workers. So we are in part 4, and in this part we are going to start on each and every category of vulnerable people or vulnerable group that we already highlighted in the previous tutorials. In the previous tutorials, we looked at each and every category of vulnerable workers as per the ISO standard and NEBOSH International General Certificate. And we look at each and every hazard that they are exposed to. For example, we said the young and inexperienced workers, they lack the proper perception of risk and hazard. How you see and interpret the hazard is different from a young and new employee in a workplace. If you are able to identify it something as a hazard, he may not be in a position to identify the same thing as a hazard, and that's when they may be put in they may put themselves in danger, and that's why there should be a proper measures to be put in place to protect them. We also discussed how we can come up with the control measures, and we said the first thing to do is to come up with the risk assessment. So the risk assessment will be able to identify the specific hazard to each and every specific vulnerable workers, and to be able to put the proper control measures, or to review the current control measures and update them so that they can suit the current hazard in the workplace. So in our today's tutorial, we are going to begin on each and every group or category of vulnerable workers. Number one is workers with physical disabilities or mobility impaired. People who cannot move by themselves, whether they require or depend on the wheelchair, or they walk by sticks, or there are people who cannot move at all, they have to be moved. But since there is no any discrimination in the employment, these people also deserve to be employed, especially if they are educated. And therefore, if they are in the workplace, there should be the proper measures to be put in place that will secure and protect them during emergencies. So the problem with this category of people is the inability to use stairs or heavy fire doors during an evacuation. So the workers with disabilities or immobility problem, they may not be in a position to push a fire-rated door. Remember, during fire alarm, there is always the SPF that is running. That is the staircase pressurization fans. These pressurization fans, they normally exert clean and good air for breathing in the staircases. And during this process, they normally exert a lot of pressure, and the doors, the exit and all the exit doors closes themselves. It becomes very difficult to open or to push this kind of doors if you are a disabled person. If you are moving by wheelchair, it will be difficult for you to push this fire-rated door in order for you to exit. Therefore, it is always recommended that there should be a proper or an alternative means where the vulnerable workers, such as the disabled or physically disabled people, can be evacuated during emergencies. Also, the physical impaired people, they may not be in a position to use the staircase, especially when the staircases are being used by everyone during the emergencies. Then, what should be done? The personal emergency evacuation plan should be used, which include Equipment provision of an evacuation chair at the top of the designated fire safe staircase. So there should be a provision of a wheelchair where it is recognized that there is a disabled person. If there is someone who is having a physical disability, then there should be consideration that during emergency evacuation, the wheelchair should be provided at the top of the staircase, where, or at that level, at that floor where the mobility impaired person is. And this wheelchair will also, number two, will also require a personal assistance. That is number two. Number one is equipment such as the wheelchair should be provided at the top of the staircase. So if you will use the staircase to evacuate this person, then you will provide the wheelchair at the top of the staircase at that level where the vulnerable person is found. And a personal assistance. So specific trained personnel should also be assigned to assist these categories of people during evacuation. So with the presence of the, with the provision of the wheelchair, the personal trained assistance should also be provided in order to help the evacuation process. Number three, the infrastructure, the provision of or identifying of refuge areas with safe and two-way communication so that the vulnerable workers will be taken to wait for the emergency responders. So, in some cases, it's not mandatory to evacuate the workers if the area is safe. So let's say there is fire in the building, but in this particular floor, there is no fire and there is no chances that the fire will reach there for a short period of time. If the person with the disability is found in that floor, it's not mandatory to remove him or to evacuate him outside. Rather, you may decide to put him at a safer area and wait for the emergency response services. That is the authority, the fire responders, fire brigades. So if they come, that's the time when they will advise on the proper way to do. The second example is a critical sick person. If someone is critically sick, it's not mandatory, it's not a must to evacuate him from the building, because maybe this person has been connected to oxygen. He can only breathe through oxygen, the artificial. So removing him from that particular floor or particular room, it will put him into more danger than leaving him at that particular area. So the people who will be conducting or assisting in the evacuation, there should be a proper means or proper way to consider the safe area, and if necessary, you can leave the sick person intact and wait for the service providers. If you do so, then you should make sure that you provide the two-way communication means or method. And that means there should be a communication method, whether the telephone intercom. For instance, if they need any assistance, they can just make a direct call to the call center and they can get the necessary assistance. And that will mark the end of our today's tutorial. Remain intact, remain tuned so that you can continue learning health and safety in this platform. And if you have any question or any recommendation or any request, then feel free to put it in the comment section, or you can also direct a message in my WhatsApp. I will leave my contact in the taskbar so that whoever will wish to contact me, it will be easy for them. Thank you very much. Let's meet in the next video.